There is a narrative that's been going around for quite a while that when a Fed pivot happens, it is quite bearish. And we've been hearing for the past year and even more that the recession is imminent now. We have not seen that happen yet, and most of the market have missed out on higher prices. Just to remember to trade the chart and not the narrative or the news. The market is very efficient and tends to be 6 to 12 months forward looking, and generally most of the market does miss out. This is not financial advice, I'm simply doing that on the internet. The market generally acts well when the Fed is done tightening. We have on the screen data from the 1970s to the current market, and we can see that in 12 months, which is the last tab over here, we can see that on average the market is up 14% after the Fed pauses. We can see the upper band over here. This is the high rates that we saw, the highest rates that we saw before it goes down. Currently in 23, we have a 5.50% interest rate. And we are already 3 months into the pause over here. We had 2 consecutive red percentages. Now the 6 months has not printed and the 12 obviously not. We can see that only 2 times before out of the 10 pivots have we seen negative percentage growth 12 months or a year after the Fed pauses. So, and also keep in mind that the year before an election cycle, we have never seen a negative stock market. So as we can see, the market generally acts well when the Fed is done tightening or reaches the upper band. So if we just go to the charts and go to the S&P. So I've got some measured moves here. We've recently done a 10% move and we're now up in the last week. We're up 6% already. And if we put on the US interest rates over here, we can see that in July we started to get the pivot. And if we measure 12 months from this area, this will bring us into July of 24. By then, we could expect, if we just take the average, we can expect a move all the way up to 5,300 area on the S&P. This is well above the all-time highs. Maybe this was the correction we get. Maybe we get a move up and then another correction when the pivot happens. But 12 months afterwards, the market is very, very bullish and we've taken up all-time highs. This can even go lower or even a little bit higher, or this time maybe we don't perform that well, but even a 5% move from that area, which is quite low, would take us to the all-time highs. So the data shows that generally the Fed pivot is not that bearish. And remember, we are already 3 months into the upper band being reached. So another few things that are bullish is we have the dollar index here, and if we go down to the daily, we have broken below some very important support levels. Now it looks like we are coming to retest this breakout level, but this measured moves shows us a move all the way down to 103 if we stay below this support level and it does not get reclaimed above it. This is another positive for the risk assets, as when the dollar is weak, we do see some relief in our risk assets, including Bitcoin. Another positive thing is oil is also currently breaking down. This is a major support level, $81, and it's now lost that area. It's come down to retest it and failed. And this measured move shows a move all the way to $70 per barrel of oil. And all products need to be transported, which requires oil. Not only that, a very, very large amount of modern products contain oil, including plastics, your clothes, etc. So the transport cost and the cost of many products need oil, and the price of oil going down does show a little bit of positive for the risk assets. And especially when we get below the 77 area, you will see the stock market rally quite powerfully. Next, if we look at Tether dominance, which is still the most popular stablecoin, we go to larger time frames. We've been moving sideways in this area for quite a while after most of Tether dominance has been going up. Now, when Tether loses dominance, it's obvious that most of those stable coins move into Bitcoin or altcoins when the risk appetite does increase for altcoins. So we have a major support level coming up at 6.39%. We are slightly above it at 6.58%. And if we can start seeing candles close below these levels, we can see a nice move for crypto as well. Now, generally, this chart just continues to print higher as there's more Tether being minted. Especially in the bull market, you get a lot of Tether printed, but some of that Tether does flow into Bitcoin and all of the other cryptos. Next, we will look at the total market cap, which currently sits at 1.36 level, 1.3 trillion. This has now clearly broken out of its accumulation zone. We can see the breakout level, which is here. We have now even closed the candle, a weekly candle above this level. This next candle would be a confirmation candle. And as you know, this is all of the crypto assets, including Bitcoin, stable coins, etc. So do we see a move all the way to 0.38%? This is the area marked over here, the 38% retracement level, so the 38% of this entire move. Before we get a rejection, so we can see a move up here and then a retest of that base. If we go to Bitcoin, we can start to speculate where this might be happening. On the daily, there are some bearish signals with 5 different divergences also already forming. And we can see down here on the indicators that there are some bearish signals starting to print, which is a little concerning for the shorter time frames. It would be generally better to wait for a pullback to buy, but this doesn't mean it can't go higher. It's just a little bit risky here. We have influencers saying we can see moves all the way to 40 to 48, which is probable. And the reason why they think this might happen is that within 76 days, we can see that some of these deadlines for the ETF will be met, with the final deadline for ARK being the first month of next year, the 10th of January of 2024. That's 76 or 74 days away, which is pretty close, right? And you would see a massive run up into those dates. But that would be the classic buy the rumor, sell the news event, like we get in crypto. So maybe we move all the way to 40K and even higher, and then come back to retest these breakout levels. Because we've launched out of this consolidation or accumulation zone over here, but generally the market likes to come back to retest breakout levels. So until then, we might continue to see some consolidation here, maybe a nice pullback, and then the run into the ETF announcement and buy the rumor, sell the news after that. If we then go over to others, now the others chart is all of the altcoins below the top 10, excluding stablecoins. And once again, we can see clear breakout level here of the accumulation zone that has lasted about a year all the way from here. This is a clear breakout here. Do we see a move to the 23% or the 38.2%? I don't know. But this is why some of your altcoins have been moving really, really well in the last few months. Others are performing better than the higher capped altcoins, as others too, which is all of the altcoins excluding BTC, which includes BTC, we're still moving sideways in the accumulation zone and have not broken out just yet. Our breakout level is back here at 700 billion. But the good thing about Total 2 is that we actually didn't make a new low. It has held its lows all the way back from May and July of 22. Others 3 still moving in its accumulation, so still hasn't broken out, where the lower cap altcoins have already popped nicely. So the last chart to look at is Bitcoin dominance. And this is the weekly chart. On the shorter time frames, we do finally have a breakdown of this level. And we can see that some of the altcoins have been the double-digit gains on crypto bubbles, etc. And it has gotten a nice move already. Now, when Bitcoin reasserts itself either to the downside or a rally to the upside, I would expect the Bitcoin dominance to increase again and some of the altcoins suffer under the pressure. Some of them will still continue to do well. But as long as this keeps moving down, we will see some nice runs in the altcoins. But do be cognizant of that when BTC does have its massive run, it tends to steal the spotlight a little bit. This is your massive runs that you see from the breakout of 20k all the way to 60k. This was this area over here. You can see the altcoins being punished. So I do think that we might be in this area over here where the altcoins have some relief until Bitcoin does its massive run into all-time highs. And we could see this move all the way up to 60% when Bitcoin does do that. So might look like a little bit of a pullback in this area over here, and then we get that massive move whenever this happens. Like that. So with that being said, thank you for watching this video. I hope you learned something. Please click the like button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers for now, and bye-bye.